Ann told me before the night, or before the show began tonight, and I'd just been seeing little bits and pieces about this tragedy in Colorado. Some guys came into a high school, and there's like
kids,
22 to 25 people dead, and so on and so forth. I think we're in the city.
We are very much there.
That this tragedy took place in.
Jeffco County, and I guess Columbine, where the Columbine High School, where this went down, will be closed tomorrow. But the other two high schools will be open tomorrow. And we'll have extra counseling available, apparently, if people want to talk to somebody.
And if people want to call in from that region and take a load off, we'll talk to you.
We'd love to hear what's going on, what this was all about. You're not going to get the real story in the press, right? So here's a place where we can really share about what these kids were all about, what really happened. I'm going to put a show example. I'm going to put my vote on physical abuse plus speed equals extreme violence.
Yeah. Plus the availability of automatic weapons, which I still think is a very important and positive thing in our culture, and everyone should be able to have one. It's just it's tough when automatic weapons get a black eye this way. Also, these things always seem to take place in a place where they couldn't happen, where it wasn't supposed to happen. They always start the newscast with, "It wasn't supposed to happen here." It's always some small town up north or some little village in Colorado or something. Mm-hmm. When I have kids and I'm going to enroll them in school, I want the principal to tell me, there's like a 50-50 chance something pretty hairy could go on here. Then the kid's in. If I hear nothing could happen, it's not supposed to happen, I'm yanking them right out of there. Because all of this stuff seems to happen where it's not supposed to happen.
Isn't that the point? In the last 10 years we've been saying who would have expected, yet that's where it happens.
Isn't that the point?
That's where this stuff happens.
That's a point in life, too, in general, isn't it? When you least expect it?
Right. People compensate when they expect stuff.
The thing that's weird is we're always talking about the violence in the schools in the inner city and the south side of Chicago and in south central L.A. and anything with a south in it before a big metropolitan city. But there seems to be a few stabbings and a few things, sort of isolated stuff. But the big-time massacre stuff seems to go on in the smaller areas.
That's right.
All right, so I don't know what lesson we've learned, but we want to talk to some of those people if they're listening tonight. Christine?
Yeah.
You're 22.
Okay, I just want to say I love the show.
Thanks.
And I just have a couple of comments. First of all of the Jefferson County schools, I guess, are closed tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And some of the other schools around Denver are also closed, the high schools, middle schools.
That's not what we're hearing. We got a call from our affiliate in Denver, and they're saying that the two Jeffco schools that are not Columbine will be open.
Oh, they are? Because I just watched the news about 5 minutes ago, and they're saying all Jeffco are going to be closed.
Yep, okay.
So where are you watching the news?
What's that?
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from, actually, in Boulder, but I have family lives in the Littleton area.
How far is that from Boulder?
It's about a 30-minute drive. It kind of stretches around the outskirts of Denver, so, I mean, it's definitely a suburb of Denver.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ugh.
And
it's real close to the mountains, sort of by Golden.
And
oh my God, it's God's country, up there.
Yeah,
up there.
I mean, it's you really wouldn't.
That must have been out of town. You mean that's like the Coors stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those commercials. Now I'm heartbroken, Drew. Oh, this is horrible. And so you're saying that the schools will all be closed tomorrow?
Just in the Jefferson County area, which is where Littleton is. And then I guess a threat was called into a Denver high school, so they're closing that high school and some of the other
nice.
schools.
Isn't that nice for people?
What's a threat?
What's that?
A bomb threat or something?
They really wouldn't confirm it on the news. They said just the superintendent decided to close those schools. And
isn't that nice when S goes down, somebody else has to sort of add to it, get in the midst of it?
Yeah, well, they're just afraid of copycats, I guess.
Yeah, but it boggles the mind. I mean, in a way, I want those people dealt with just as harshly as the other people, the people that actually perpetrated the crime. Once in a while, I know that I'm jumping a little bit here, but I was watching this Polly Klaus story, and when she was abducted, she was dead immediately practically, but they didn't know where she was for many weeks, and they had a hotline number, and a girl called in saying that she was Polly, and the FBI traced it, and the dad talked to her and swore it was her, and they went to the house, and it was some kid screwing around. I mean, imagine that. Some poor girl, your daughter's been abducted, she's been raped and killed up in the mountains and pulled out of a room at knife point, and you got some 14-year-old effing around. Hey, it's me, Daddy. You know what I mean? I mean, can you imagine?
This is all the stuff of mob mentality, right? This is the most primitive piece of humans. gets resurfaces and stuff like that.
Definitely man at its worst. Christine, is that why you were calling?
Yeah, mainly. But I just wanted to, I sort of had a question for Dr. Drew, and I don't know if he can answer it. But I just know that on TV, the kids that perpetrated it were described as outcasts, some sort of trench coat mafia. And it seemed like they were described by other students that they were sort of teased, and excluded from a lot of the social groups at the school. And I was wondering, all groups at school get teased. Jocks get teased. Popular people get teased by people that aren't popular. Everyone gets teased, It's like, why did these kids take it to such an extreme, and why do some other kids just deal really well with it?
There are a lot of theories about the origins of violence, and you can go into any bookstore today and get... There's one called Ghost from the Nursery, or Ghost in the Nursery, that goes into a lot of detail about this, a newer book. It's pretty involved. For me, I sort of play the odds, and I usually bet on a sprinkling of amphetamine. Amphetamine is the drug of violence, and when I see wild violence, I just assume that drug's there. Got a fringy group, probably doing drugs.
It's not like
probably.
No one ate a pot brownie and then went in there and shot up the school.
Yeah, and they may already have been prone to violence. You sprinkle in amphetamines, you get extreme violence.
All right. Get one stick with Drew coming up with new and inventive ways to make noise. Steve?
Yeah.
You're 20.
Yeah.
Louis Mandylor's here from Martial Law.
How are you, Steve? What's up?
I'm good.
How old is she?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
No, I'm a long-time listener. I'm glad I'm, in a way, I'm not calling about my own problem. I live about 15 miles out of Littleton. And my comment is, I am, Adam, you've been talking about this for a while. I'm just fed up with this society. I am so sick to death. I mean, I saw the president come on today, and he gave his usual pray and grieve speech, and this is a guy who should be saying, what is going on?
Yes.
And,
Steve, absolutely.
And the press, they had a helicopter, all right? A local news station had a helicopter, and they had a real up-close shot, and the pilot's saying, we're getting this shot not because we're breaking FAA regulations, but because we got this high-tech technological camera. And it's like, what does that matter?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so angry.
What kind of weapons did these kids have? Do you know?
I haven't heard for sure, but I think they were assault weapons. And there's a couple of rumors here. One is that one of them, his dad, owned a gun shop. I don't know for a fact. I don't want to throw anything out there.
Right.
Two is, the other rumor I heard is one of those kids drove a black BMW. And I'm getting tired of, and the other thing is supposedly they did it in coalition with today being Adolf Hitler's birthday.
That's nice.
Oh, is Adolf birthday?
Is that a fact?
Yes, and, I just want the skinheads eliminated. I'm sorry. Because I'm a white Caucasian, and I'm going to be walking down the street someday, or my kid is going to be walking down the street, and they're going to get popped off.
Well, now we're going to get a million calls, Steve, now from skinheads who are not racist and not violent.
There's a lot of loving, nurturing, wonderful skinheads out there.
That's a whole different...
No, it's not. Listen.
But listen, I wonder why we don't talk about the real... I mean, this is your roach theory.
Right.
Why worry about smashing the roaches you see running around? Why don't we go to the nest?
The nests.
You're exactly right.
Why don't we as a society come to grips with this crap and deal with people as they really are?
Exactly.
Why do we have to protect our little political territories? Why can't we just capitulate and get with it? I suspect you're going to hear more about the reality of this shooting on this show tonight than you will ever hear again.
Yeah, well, the president just gets up there, or whoever just gets up there, and it's just a bunch of lip service. Our prayers and condolences go out to the grieving families, God willing. But first off, I guarantee Clinton will work God in 15, 16 times into his speech. Meanwhile, here's a guy who's getting sucked off while his wife's in the next room. He's shoving a cigar up some chick. He doesn't believe in God any more than you and I do. He really doesn't. If he does, he's a goddamn fool. He is the biggest fool in the world because he's going straight to hell for his activity. There's no way Clinton believes in God. If he did, he wouldn't carry on the way he carries on. He wouldn't lie the way he lies, and he certainly wouldn't be getting sucked off in every room of the White House. He doesn't believe in God, but he likes to work God in a lot. And he talks about condolences and heavy hearts and flags at half-mast. And this is a bunch of lip service. He really should be talking about why these weapons are available, why people can get their hands on them, and who's having these kids, and what kind of monsters are being created. out there.
And what are we going to do about these parents that create these kids?
And who's giving them trench coats, these young kids?
And,
well, then who
and
tolerates that? Hey, they're allowed to express themselves. BS.
Right.
No,
Right.
they're not.
No.
There's certain things that you just can't be allowed in our society.
No, but it's just a bunch of grieving, and I'd really like to hear Clinton's comment on it and get the old God-o-meter out and see how many times he did a God willing or with the Lord's prayers or a bunch of other nonsense. Please, God. Why even work God into a bizarre tragedy like this? You know what I mean? So it's got to be offensive to God. I mean, look at it this way. Let's say there was a God. You think they got a bunch of guys going in and blasting the hell out of a bunch of innocent high school kids? Oh, what kind of God is that? So it's kind of offensive that he works God into the whole thing. It's ironic. It's like, well, God wasn't around during the massacre, but now he's back, and we should all heed his warnings.
Isn't it the way out? I mean, isn't it? It's my opinion. I guess it's always the way out. You know, God will look after it. You know, God bless.
Yeah,
it's always the way out. It's easy for them.
It's an easy way of not dealing with the issues.
Absolutely,
the issues are, automatic weapons. The issues are screwed up kids. They're violent families.
Do something about it.
Talk about that. Yeah. Yes, that's what needs to be discussed. Thomas.
Hey, Adam. Hey, Drew. Hey, Lewis.
Hey, how are you? What's happening?
A little worried right now.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's the situation?
Well, I woke up about early this afternoon and started listening to the news. I heard the stuff all the shooting going down in the school in Columbine in Littleton, Colorado, and I got 3 of my younger cousins go to that high school. Most of my extended family lives over there, and I was incredibly worried. And I just called up to say what these kids did is horrible. I mean, I can't believe it.
Are your cousins accounted for now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been able to get a hold of them or anything.
Would they normally be home this time of day?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been able to talk to them or get a hold of their parents or anything. I don't know.
Well, the phone's just ringing, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, they may be out. They may be somewhere else. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But it's crazy. I'd have to say that what these kids did at this high school, it's outrageous. I mean, their parents should be to blame. Yeah, I can't wait till Adam gets into power. And
Thank you.
Get rid of all these horrible parents out there.
Well, listen, if your kid goes on a massacre, I'm putting you down.
That's right.
You are you gave birth to a bad seed. I'm going to have to put you down.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. I don't know whether you beat the crap out of the kids or you just got some really bad genes, but either way, I'm putting you down. I can't take the chance. I don't want you to have any more. And by the way, if you're honorable, you just kill yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's what I like about the Japanese. They're constantly killing themselves. You know what I mean? The guy screws up and makes some kind of bad strategic move in war, he kills himself. Some guy, when a company builds a skyscraper and part of it falls down, the architect, he kills himself. Everyone just kills themselves.
The kamikaze pilots, right?
Kamikazes, everyone's killing themselves over there. That's what I want. I guarantee if this was in Japan, the parents would kill themselves. I like that. I want more people killing themselves. I don't like all this suicide watch and everything at the prisons and the hospitals. I want the parents of the kids who massacred these kids to go ahead and kill themselves. That's fine.
So do I. These kids, they come in, and if these parents don't know these kids, I guess in reports in the news that these kids have been building bombs and have been caught doing it before, and they had all these guns, and the parents didn't know what these kids were into, they need to be put down. I mean, that's ridiculous.
They were brought up in an environment where this turned out to be the direction they went, and that speaks volumes about that environment.
It has to be pretty bad for them to take that turn.
Just has to. It just has to. So, Thomas, you must be sitting on pins and needles over there. Wait a minute. What time is it over there now? It's midnight?
An hour later.
It's almost midnight. It's about 11:50.
Can we put out some kind of a call to whoever these folks are to call you?
Well, actually, I'm at work right now, so.
Well, how come you haven't heard from them? I mean, if you call them right now, you don't think anyone would pick up the phone?
Well, I tried calling several times, this evening, and earlier on this afternoon, I couldn't get through.
All right, where do you work?
I work at Corporate Express.
And they know that?
Yeah.
And they could call you there?
Mm-hmm.
What's your last name?
Guajardo.
With the parents of Thomas Guajardo, please, I mean the cousins, please give them a buzz at work so we can know you're okay, and at least close that loop up tonight, all right?
Good luck, man.
All right.
All right, Thomas.
Okay.
Boy, I mean, 3 cousins. You'd be freaked out if you had one cousin, one nephew, one whatever.
Living
one
nearby.
One. Yeah. One who lived 5 miles from the school.
But 3 cousins and the parents not accounted for tonight.
Oh, ringing phone. That's a scary thing, yeah.
Why would you call all your family members and say, "Hey, I'm okay"? You just don't worry about it. Unless...
Listen. I don't want to be a pain in the ass, but there's Thomas is leaving a piece of the puzzle out here. It's midnight. Unless something bad has happened, there's a piece of this puzzle missing. I mean, if the 3 kids are home and accounted for, somebody should be picking up the phone. Somebody should be making some phone calls, right? I mean, you'd call everyone who was even close to it. You'd be calling football coaches who coached you in Pop Warner Gremlins, 15 years ago, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, just call everyone whose path you've ever crossed.
I'm okay.
All right. Tim.
Yeah.
You're 15.
Yep.
What's going on? You have some information for us?
Yeah, I have some information. You asked earlier if anybody wanted to call in and see what you know.
Yeah, we're very interested about
So,
the Colorado thing.
You asked what kind of information, what kind of guns and weapons they had.
Sure.
They had fully automatic. I'm thinking they had.
You're thinking?
Lots of pistols.
You're thinking.
I'm thinking.
All right, Tim.
There were mixed reports.
So we watch the news too, Tim. We're interested. We watch the news too. Okay.
Well, what do you want? Some guy who works in forensics to call in?
Want somebody was there.
You mean at the high school?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but even someone who was there, I mean, if you were close enough to see what kind of gun the guy was toting, you may not be alive.
Stuck in the library with them.
Oh, really?
And in the cafeteria too. Lots.
For long periods of time?
Mm-hmm. I don't know the full story.
Hey, Tim?
Yeah?
Were people shot mainly, or was it bombs going off that killed people?
It was mainly shooting.
See that through?
Yeah, mainly shooting. There were some bombs that went off. One girl got 9 pieces of shrapnel in the chest. And they first thought that was gunshot wounds, but it turns out it was shrapnel. And she's actually doing okay.
All right, so what is the death count? Do they know?
It's between 20 and 25 for all the people that are in the school, including the gunmen. And there's close to 20 people that are injured in hospitals, and they're 16 to 18, both male and female.
How many gunmen were there? Do they know?
They said there were 2 in the main gunmen, in a group that they think is close to 5, the whole trenchcoat mafia thing.
Right, but there were only 2 that actually were involved in the assault?
That's what's been reported.
So the other 3 were not there, or
they
not
accomplices.
You saw them live getting taken down by the police.
Right. Yeah.
It was weird. You couldn't figure out what
the other 3.
Yeah.
So they were
there.
They were somewhere else planting bombs, or they were doing
It
something?
looked like they were watching from a field.
We're not really sure what's happened.
Yeah, that's all not been accounted for.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, man. But the 2 guys who did it killed themselves.
Yeah. And they were both students. One was a junior, one was a senior.
Wow.
And the other
How
ones
old is
were
that,
not
if someone could
17, 18.
17, 18.
What's that?
16, 17, 18.
Yeah, junior, senior. What are they?
Tim, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. What do they have in Australia? They have grade this or grade that?
I always get confused. We have grade 1 to grade 6, then Form 1 to Form 6.
Ooh.
And then we have the college syndrome that comes after that, which I never got to.
Right.
I know it's there.
I missed that one, too. But do they have... so they don't have... But when you get to college, you get to be seniors and sophomores and freshmen and all that, don't you, in Australia?
Off the top of my head, I don't think so. And it's a different college lifestyle to America. The 4 years on the dorm where, you get transferred out of state, you get away from the parents, you live with the young kids, and you more or less live by yourself with other students. We don't do that. I don't think it works like that.
What do they do in Australia?
You're asking the wrong person when it comes to education of the college.
Let me tell you what I know about Australia, but I think I'm right. I learned it from this Beyond Thunderdome, this Mad Max movie. A lot of guys wearing in like dune buggies, wearing like catcher's equipment, just going down the road at 90, 100 miles an hour.
Downtown,
through the middle of the streets. They're shooting like spear guns at other guys. There's another guy's got like a whirly bird type helicopter. He's flying over the top. I mean, it's insanity what goes on over there, Drew. You ever see that Mad Max?
Well, sure.
You'd never want to go to Australia. They filmed that there, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Downtown, too.
Yeah, Road Warrior, same thing. I mean, it's almost a documentary on the Australian lifestyle. It really is. That, and actually, wait a minute, there's an alternative, Drew. You know what that is?
Ah.
It's a guy who wears a leather vest, he has a big knife, and he wrestles crocodiles.
Oh, yeah, and a hat.
He's got the hat, with the croc teeth on it.
Right.
That's the other half of the population.
And you ain't kidding, because a lot of people I know here more or less take that for what it is and think it is like that, you know? Strange. It's actually quite strange.
Is Paul Hogan, is he a national hero, or did he just look like a big goober over there?
No, Paul's cool. He had a show many years ago called The Paul Hogan Show. He was very well liked.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, very well liked. Very, very... Yeah, it was a good show, great show.
Let's see, who made it big? Olivia Newton-John? Was she the first one? Who were the big...
Wasn't Errol Flynn the first one?
Oh, yeah, he was Australian. That's right. And then you got your Mel Gibson.
Then Mel,
I got to think of who else came out of Australia. Rosemary.
Hello.
You're 16.
Yes. I go to school in Denver, Colorado, and I had a couple friends who went to school at Columbine High School.
Oh, boy.
2 of them have been found. One of them has not been found, to the best of my knowledge, as of 7 o'clock.
How did you find the 2 that were found?
How did I find the 2 that were found? Well, the deal was that it was during lunch, and I was actually supposed to have lunch with them that afternoon. And so I had gotten home from school, and I was getting ready to just leave and go pick them up. And I turned on the news, and they said there was a high school that was under attack. And so I immediately just decided that whatever high school it was, I probably shouldn't leave the house, and it said it was Columbine.
Wow.
And so immediately I'm assuming that my friends have been murdered and are dying in the street somewhere. And I just waited around, and I didn't hear from anybody, and I called their parents, and finally at 5 o'clock they were able to contact their parents and said that they were all right.
Were they stuck in any of this?
No, they were able to leave pretty early. I mean, the way that the school is set up is that certain kids were closer enough to an exit, and they just left, and they weren't able to contact anyone because the way it was set up is that the people who were there not watching TV got very little information.
How big a school was it?
I believe it has something in the range of 1,800 to 1,900 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fairly large school.
Yeah.
Oh
boy.
My problem is I don't understand this mentality. I don't understand where these people thought that they could just come in and kill everybody, and that would be okay, and that.
No, I don't know.
I think it's called insanity. You know,
yeah.
It's over the edge, drugs, bad thing. You know, the
well,
mind.
I'm starting to put this theory together about society. I've expressed it on this show a time or two, where I think the ante is being upped in our society. I mean, everything is bigger, faster, nastier, wilder. Everything. I mean, everything is just, there's a sort of one-upsmanship that is going on in this country, and it's all going through the roof. And
even with the mass murders, right?
Yeah,
some
good and some bad. I just mean, if you take a look at, video games 10 years ago and you look at them today, there's a difference. And you take a look, I always find it interesting when I take a look at something like sports, I take a look at basketball. You look at some films of, Jerry West playing basketball, 30 years ago, and it's a bunch of guys in crew cuts shooting the ball. Now it's like tattoos and guys punching coaches and super monster jams and taunting. I mean, everything is everything keeps getting bigger and faster and wilder, and everything's more extreme.
Well, there's more violence to all of this.
Yeah, I mean, everything. You turn on the TV, and if you see a guy snowboarding, he's jumping off a cliff, and there's this screaming guitar lick behind him, just a driving guitar riff, and it's not. Guys aren't jumping motorcycles over jumps anymore. They're like jumping over houses, and I mean, everything is through the roof, and there's a sort of energy to everything now, which is sort of violent meets speed meets one-upsmanship meets showmanship. And it seems to be that it's trickling down to other facets of life. Like this kind of thing seems like a product of today's society.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making myself clear or not, but there's a certain energy. I mean, all you got to do is watch a soda commercial on TV. It's like driving guitar and fast cuts, and everything is in your face, and everyone's yelling at everybody, and it's like this really like fast-paced sort of, everything's getting really like violent, aggressive, in your face, and everything's really aggressive. It's everything is balls to the wall, and it's all extreme. Everything's got the word extreme in front of it.
It's your world.
It's your world, man. You take it on. You do. Hey, if snowboarding's fun, then imagine if you jumped out of a plane with a snowboard on, and then we're gonna have a whole. It's gonna be Olympic trial sport and all this. I mean, everything is like in your face, and I think if you're growing up. I mean, think about it. If you had a good 5 years of in your face, I mean, a good 5 years of serious, violent video games where everyone's getting their head blown off and stuff, watching Michael Jordan slam dunk in everyone's face, everyone yelling, pro wrestling. I mean, look at the number one cable show is pro wrestlers. Guys like pumped up on steroids, throwing guys out of the ring, and when they're not beating the crap out of guys, they're in the microphone yelling what they're going to do to them, calling everyone's a pussy, no one's man enough. It's just really like extreme, violent, fast-paced, guitar rock kind of world we're living in now. And I don't know. It sort of feels like there's going to be more of this before it curtails itself.
Yeah.
That's why everything gives me a headache.
I gotta go nap.
As opposed to Drew likes to listen to opera when he drives home. Jose?
Yeah?
You're 18.
Hi, I was calling to say, first of all, you know those three guys that you said got arrested that were part of the group?
Yeah.
I saw in the news, they turned out they were just three kids who happened to be walking along, and they got mistaken for people.
Oh, wow. They manhandled those guys, too.
Yeah.
Did you see the footage of that? Oh, boy.
They showed them later talking to reporters. They were released.
Okay. Were they wearing the coats, maybe, and they were mistaken? Or?
No, they were just wearing, like, black jackets that had anarchy and a bad religion symbol, with the cross.
Bad religion, those poor guy.
We like bad religion.
And another thing I was going to say, I was going to call in defense of goth people, because I'm considered goth, I guess, because I wear all black, and I got nail polish, and I got long black hair, and eventually, sometimes I wear the black makeup,
Why? So you can't get a job?
Actually, I can't. But anyway,
do you work?
Well, I'm
video store. You're what?
I'm looking for a job.
Yeah, you can't find a job when you got black nail polish.
I don't put that stuff on, when I'm looking for a job.
All right. Well, listen. Here's all you can do when you dress like you can start a band, or you can work at a video store. Those are your two choices. Are you in a band?
Yes, I am.
All right then. Well, then you're fine. What's the name of the band?
Oddity.
Oddity?
Yeah.
That's good.
But anyways, just because a person dresses like that or is into that kind of stuff, that isn't going to make them go out and do stupid things like this.
No, I know, but I still judge them.
Well, I know gangbangers. Well, and they're not gangbangers, but they dress like gangbangers. And but they're not gangbangers if you really talk to them. They just dress. That's this.
I know, but I don't want to talk to them. That's my whole point. I don't want to get to the conversation stage with them. I'm like, hey, that guy looks like a gang member. Well, we're going to go out and talk to him, find out if he's really packing or not. No, that's it. I'm not talking to him.
Well,
and when I meet Jose, I don't want to go, hey, is he really strung out on heroin and can't stand religion and his parents, or is he just a poser? You know what? I don't care. Hey, there's some chick wearing a tube top. I'll go talk to her. That's my motto. You see? Drew, write that last one down.
The chick in a tube top. I think I'll go talk to her. All right. Got it.
Okay. Louis Mandylor is here. We're going to take ourselves a little break, and then we'll be back with more goth talk after this.
I feel so liquidy.
Oh, we're on? Yeah. Mike?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, you guys, I listen to you every night. More for entertainment, I guess, but not tonight, And one of the points about, the kids and everything like that, I look at it as more of a problem with the parents.
Sure.
But in regards to, some of the things I've heard is like racism and, their whole thing where they're pissed off at the jocks and this and that. But, those are the guys that, let's say the jocks, they're kind of like the epitome of our school system. They're the guys that make it, I guess you could say, in one sense.
Right.
And
what's your point there, Mike?
my point is okay. You have these guys pissed off at the jocks and everything like that. And where I came from, I'm 40 years old, and when I went to school, all the jocks were doing steroids with the coach's approval. And actually, the coaches are the ones that got the guys into it. And what's that? 25 years ago, and it's still a problem today. That I know of.
Yeah. Well, what's your point?
Well, they're kind of like being enabled in that sense. It's like, okay, go beat up on the skinny guys. And do that whole thing, and then you got the revenge factor or whatever.
All right, hold on a second, Mike. Wait a minute, Mister. Mike scared me, by the way. I'm gonna put him on my list. Mike,
yeah, good.
Listen to me. I wonder if Mike was a jock or one of the skinny kids that got his ass whooped.
And I was kind of like, I should have been a jock, but I competed with them and everything like that,
All right, well, listen, hold on a second now. I hate to brag here, but I was all Central Valley at North Hollywood High. That's real football. That's not 7.5-man football that you play over there. I was a jock. I was a senior. I started on varsity 2 years. I played baseball. The only thing I could do was play sports in high school, and I was good, and I was an all-star and
You're
stuff.
athletic, Adam.
I was,
Wow.
yeah. That's before my hip got bad and I lost the will to live. But my point is this. These guys were a bunch of pussycats for the most part. They were just regular guys. Nobody was taking steroids, and nobody was out saying, hey, let's go hop ourselves up on some roids and go beat up on some guys in the band. It just didn't exist. And North Hollywood is not some lily white little corner of Hobbitville. And North Hollywood is North Hollywood. It's as gritty as any place is going to be, and there's as many doofuses, and it's as diverse as any other area. And there wasn't a bunch of idiots who were out beating people up. Yes, as a rule, guys who are on the football team are a little bit more boisterous than other guys, and they might tend to give you a noogie or spit on you or something a little faster than a wimpy guy would. But it wasn't like everyone was shooting up with steroids and going and kicking ass on people that were smaller than they were. They left them alone. It wasn't an issue. Mike over here, I don't know what Mike's angle is, but it's kind of a scary one.
Sherry, from now on, if somebody in their fourth decade of life calls with an interesting point of view, they must have a PhD level of training or greater. That's it.
Yeah.
That's our new rule.
Yeah, the coach was feeding everyone on the team steroids 25 years ago.
And they beat up on the skinny kids.
And they get them all whipped up and then go beat up on the skinny kids. Oh, please. Hey, it's Loveline there. Wait a minute. Briar?
Yep.
You're 22.
Yeah, how's it going? I didn't think I was going to get on here in time.
Well, he is.
How much time you guys got left?
Oh, for Christ's sake, Briar. What do you want to do?
Sorry.
Okay, what's going on?
Well, you guys want information on what happened? I've got everything. I was just at the school helping people out. I know the guys that killed everybody.
Why were you at the school?
Well, there's two schools, the elementary school that they're taking all the students to for the parents to meet them. There's still people out there, news people are still out there. They're giving people food and blankets and things like that are waiting. And I was just helping people out.
Oh, that's good.
So tell us what's happening. What's the deal?
Well, what's happening right now, I don't know, but I could tell you what happened earlier.
All
right.
Well, everyone's putting down these two guys that decided this, Eric and Dylan, were actually really intelligent, somewhat nice people. I mean, they were put down on by the whole school all the time, things like that. They did wear black a lot, but mainly they wear, boots, camouflage, unfortunately. They were actually decent people. They just snapped. They weren't skinheads. They weren't into Nazis. They had nothing to do with Hitler.
They weren't doing speed?
No, they weren't. Actually, they did pot occasionally, from what I heard, but no other drugs. They weren't druggies at all. Nothing.
How did you know these guys?
Actually, they were best friends of my girlfriend.
Really?
And that's why I was helping everybody out, because she was there, and I just got back from helping her.
How old is your girlfriend?
She was a senior.
I know. She's real young.
All right. Well, that's got to be pretty freaky for your girlfriend.
Yeah, she was there. She was locked in a closet by her principal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can tell you some stories.
Well, my principal locked me in a closet too, but
tell us a story. What else?
Well, let's see. First, they started off in the parking lot. They shot 2 people there. Then they came into the cafeteria. Pretty much just unloaded on everybody. A friend of mine had a gun pointed at her head, and he asked her if she wanted to die, and she begged not to. So he turned around and shot the girl next to her in the face with the shotgun. Then turning around, taking out other people too. There was one guy that jumped out of a window, a closed window. He was shot 8 times and jumped out of the window. He's in the hospital right now. I think he's still alive.
Wow. What did they have? They had a shotgun? What else?
They had shotguns, semi-automatic pistols. The coronary, or the people that are working on the hospitals, the doctors, said that they think some of them were 9mm bullets too. They're not releasing that information right now. And
well, the 9mm bullets are just from the semi-automatic pistol, right?
Yeah, it was supposedly, yeah.
Right.
But they're not releasing that. All they know for sure is the pipe bombs and the shotguns.
Yeah, now what did they do with the pipe bombs?
What did they do with them?
Well, where did they have them? Did they have them planted in advance, or did they light them? And
that's what they're thinking. That's why they're searching all the cars and things like that in the classrooms and stuff, because in case they did have some more. They were pipe bombs strapped all over their body when they found them after they shot themselves and stuff in the library. There was a lot of bombs there. The bodies are still in there as far as I know.
Did they leave any letters or anything about what?
Nothing, no. They have a website. The guy, Eric, has a website.
And what about their parents and family?
No one's talked anything about them. They're going to have a search warrant to go through the house to see if they're making anything, and they're not going to press charges unless the parents actually knew, That
what is the website? What's it called, Eric's website?
It's either under his name.
Which is what?
Well, why? You want everyone...
I want Mike to go on. Let's see what's
why don't you get it off the air, then?
All right, we'll get you off the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
what's wrong with information? I mean...
Nothing's wrong with information, but...
Yeah, I don't know if I can release, everything, but it is on the news that he has a website and everything. I don't know if it'd still be there, but they are telling people about it.
Because this business about them being smart and nice guys? No.
Yeah, that's the thing that other people...
Well...
Yeah, that's perception only. It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they were nice, but they weren't skinheads, and they weren't goth, anything like that.
You know what, there's another guy here. Paige?
I met them once, like in October.
Yeah, she knew these guys.
The 2
She met them once.
Well, and what'd you think?
I got strange. I got kind of bad vibes from them. It was kind of a friend of. They were friends of my friend's boyfriend, and they went to a laser show with us, and I kind of got strange vibes and decided I didn't want to ride in the car, which is the BMW that they were talking about on the news.
Wow, interesting.
Wow,
that's freaky.
And so I only met them once. I didn't know that much about them, but it's kind of scary that I was kind of met them one time. But
hey, Briar.
Yep.
So they went into the school and they shot everyone in the cafeteria, and then what did they do?
I don't know the whole details yet, because I'm kind of waiting a couple days before, I get anything out of anybody that was there. I mean, I'm not asking any questions or anything. They're still kind of shaken up and stuff, so. As far as I know, they ended up in the library. I know of one girl that hid under a table, and he ducked under the table and said peekaboo right before he shot her. That's about all I've heard. After they got pretty much everybody that was in the library, they shot themselves. That was about it.
They shot themselves?
Yep.
And, did they shoot themselves because they were being closed in on, or just because they decided it was time to shoot themselves, or they out of ammunition or something? Or?
Well, I know they weren't being closed in on yet, so it had to be probably a pre-planned decision.
And you figure the pipe bombs that they had on them, were they planning on sort of blowing themselves up, or were they going to use those?
Well, they did use a few of them. There's one person in the hospital right now that has shrapnel wounds from the plastic. They used a couple of them. That's why the school's being closed right now. A lot of the windows are blown out, things like that. They used one in the parking lot I know of. I don't know how many more.
Wow, that is bizarre. And did they have a bunch of people in the library with them?
Yeah, that's where most of the bodies are, actually. There's quite a few.
Oh, man.
I can't tell you how many, though.
All right, Briar.
Thanks very much for calling. We appreciate sharing. Get back there and give all the support you can to everybody. That's
all right, thanks.
Thanks.
Nice. Stay away from them young chicks, okay, Briar? Okay. Oh, all right, we'll take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll say bye.
Yeah, Briar, stay on hold. We want to talk to you about that website. So.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be back. Sort of Loveline. I'm going to go home and have a bottle of sleeping pills and a jug of whiskey, and we'll see if I'm here tomorrow night. So until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew saying mahalo.
This has been Loveline. The views expressed on Loveline are not necessarily those of the staff, the management, or the sponsors of this radio station. These are probably not the views of Westwood One Entertainment.
Loveline is produced by Ann Wilkins Ingle.
Now, please listen to this station longer.